So, what's going on, guys? This is King Cringe. We're back for a new podcast that I'm calling Subverted Subversions. I don't know why. It's just what's going to be happening. But today I have with me Jesse Larkins. So introduce yourself, Jesse.
Hey, how's it going, man? Hey everybody, actually. Uh, just a right-wing author, kind of new on the scene, sort of. I wrote a short story collection called Soap Scum.
Hell yeah. And, it's pretty well written. I have a review on it. You should check that out. But it's
Yeah,
dope.
that's a
So,
really great review.
yeah. You gotta plug everything. But today, we thought we'd meet up and, because we've been talking and stuff like that, we discussed Behead All Satans by MNM-DR. Is that correct? That's right.
hmm
Yeah. So
Yeah,
this is
everyone seems to get the acronym wrong.
yeah. So well, we read it recently, so we're always correct.
Exactly. We are the authority of correct takes as well. So everything you get here is going to be 100% the correct take.
Yeah. But this is like one of the OG right wing books, so we both had not read it, and I thought it'd be fun to hop in and just discuss it. What are our thoughts? What are our feelings on it? So I think let's.
hmm
I'm gonna start off with you, Jesse. Like, what were your overall thoughts on Behead All Satans, man?
I was thoroughly blown away by it. Um, yeah, I loved it, honestly. I thought it was a really singular ode to schizophrenia, and uh, yeah, I mean it's definitely a lot to unpack, but I guess just as a starting point, I would just say I really enjoyed it.
All right, that's sick, man. 'Cause I think it'll be interesting. Um, cause I came into it, I was like, oh, this is cool, and I think there's lots of good qualities about it, but I wasn't too like jazzed on it. Like going near the end, I thought by the end it's just I guess we'll get into it, but
hmm
it's just I wouldn't say it's like fun to read necessarily, but I think it is surprisingly like influential for what it was and what it's thinking about and stuff like that. So um thinking about it, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so structurally, you started to kind of lose steam with it towards the end. Is that kind of what you mean, or?
Yeah, because what it is like the I think there's something that White Pill Media said where a lot of it is like you don't kind of know what's happening, right? Because it's
hmm
very dreamlike state and like everything that's happening. It's so crazy, like near the end, but it turns into like descriptions of like fantasies, but like none of it's really happening. And I have a theory about what's happening in the book. Maybe I'll just sort it out right now, and you can see what I think. Because I think like there's this whole like stalker thing going on, right? And obviously he's like
hmm
doing this whatever with this girl, I think Ava,
Yeah.
and and the end of the book, what's happening, I feel like is like he's going to court. This is just because you can't really tell, and um by the end, I think he commits suicide because of probably losing a court case against her because like all the fantasies are about like killing her and stuff like that, but like we know that doesn't actually happen in real life, and he's like getting sued or something. And I think like the
hmm
end is like a euphemism for his. I don't know if it's just he says that he's killing himself or he's gonna die, but I think that's like exposed upon what's happening in real life versus what's happening in he's writing the book where he's like killing all these people at the end and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he's so by him shedding, I guess, yeah, we're really getting into it, but like him shedding his flesh and becoming like this fully revealed oogie boogie insectoid sort of creature, he is on full display, like finally. So I think that metaphorically, I think I hadn't thought about that, but I think you're right actually that the court case or whatever finally comes into its full fruition or whatever, and he is exposed, and then yeah, probably commits suicide.
Yeah, I don't know because there's like sequels to this. I think it's like the Tainted Turd, and I heard MNMDR was working on like a third one, so I don't know if like if any of them are like sequels, but um, it'd be interesting if he's like still alive or something, and maybe I don't understand. And but yeah, um, I
Yeah, the
start.
Tainted Herd I heard was like part prequel, part sequel. So I have no idea how that how that'll work. And I've been talking to him a little bit too, and he's got a third one coming out too called Jumpy Cutout. And that one,
Okay.
I think that one's gonna be fucking crazy too. But I think it's interesting because the part of it is like he is the main character, and
Yeah.
and there's like a lot of allusions to uh uh oh sorry, brain kind of got scrambled there.
No
um
problem.
so yeah, there's a lot of allusions to him being like the main character, and oh crap, you might have to cut this out. I forgot what point I was like about to make. Shit,
Well,
I'm sorry, man.
I can edit it, or we can not. I don't know, but let's just do it. Just roll with it. You'll be fine. We'll
What?
edit it or something. It's cool.
Okay, what were we just saying? I'm sorry.
Um, shit, even I forgot. You were talking about
Okay, okay. I'm so sorry. Okay. So he is MNM-DR and as an author, and then the character in the story is MNM-DR to some extent. He like signs off certain emails or certain correspondences as rape face. So it just makes me wonder if he were to write something like outside of this series, would he have to go under a different synonym, or how that would play out into the grander scheme of like his persona or whatever.
like he's like writing a different book as a different name, or
Yeah, like if he were to write something outside of the Behead All Satan series, would he have to do it under a different name since the uh
oh,
since
I
the
see.
persona seems to kind of be entwined with the character of the series?
That's true because like isn't his name like Mega Ray Face or something?
Yeah, like he there are actual email correspondences or like AIM chats or whatever where he signs off as Rape Face.
I
So he
yeah,
he is the character.
that's true. I haven't. Yeah, he might have a different like acronym or something that he comes out with, which I think would be you know, a different taste. I mean, it's whatever.
It was just something I was kind of curious about. I was like, as I was reading it, I was wondering like, what would he do if he had to make something outside of this? But yeah, I don't know, just a dumb passing thought or whatever. But
Oh, that's cool. Like he could just be making like a giant MNM-DR verse. All of his books are like MNDR, but you just don't know it.
right, I mean,
Uh,
I'm down for whatever. I would read them all.
yeah. I mean, I'm speaking negatively about it, I guess, at the beginning, but like, there's lots of stuff that's like very interesting about this. Like, I think the humor, obviously, I love like all the humor. Like, it goes into some super crazy stuff, and just
Hmm.
like by the end, where it's also like kind of ironic, where it's like, you think he's like kind of right wing, and but then he has like his black girlfriend at the end or whatever, and it's like you can't make fun of
Yeah,
me because I have a black girlfriend. Like that stuff's awesome.
yeah, and again, just leads into all this. Um, just the questioning the narrative and his reliability and all that as the world you know goes into this complete schizophrenic hellhole apocalypse scenario or whatever, where you just start to question everything he's saying, but you're like, oh man. uh
Yeah,
yeah, totally hilarious, totally incredible use of language, honestly. I mean, I'm just addicted to the really relaxed style personally. So I just really melted over some of this stuff.
yeah, no, actually, yeah. His writing's actually really good, and I think I talked about it with you before. Like he absolutely influenced the way I write. Like I had like the big title screens or words and hate spree, and I was like pretty much influenced by MNDR, like the way he would like have a giant caps lock and stuff like that.
Hmm. Just like seeing like screenshots and shit, and
Yeah, And yeah, he is very conversational, I guess, because it's not like he's using big words and stuff like that.
No, no, it's very plain. It's very nonchalant and kind of like off the dome. Actually, it's very like like brain to page, like very linear in that way.
Yeah. And no, I think there was something that we talked a little bit before, which was like I think you were talking about like there's a lot of good like info dumps. I don't know how else to say like you were talking about like there's good insight into like the film industry or like and I agree like there's cool stuff where you're like oh this is how we wrote the script for X and then this manager did this and then like this company shut down and stuff like that. You know?
Hmm. Yeah, I loved all that inside baseball kind of like whatever his production studio or whatever he was working with, whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
I thought that was all super interesting.
And there's like but like the flip side to that is like I feel like sometimes it goes a bit too far into like mundanity. Like what I mean is, I think you remember the section where he's building the weed farm for that one guy,
Yeah.
and it's just like every day it's like you know temperature 6 degrees, we're doing this and that, and it's just like there's like it's not just like one. There's like 20 entries about him just growing weed, and I'm like, man, I feel like I could learn how to grow weed now, like he taught me, but like I don't know if this is like fun to read.
Yeah, 100%. It's like it becomes just pages upon pages of the most detail-oriented breakdowns of like how his plants are developing that day
Yeah.
and like what type how much water he gave it and just the progress. And yeah, I felt the exact same way that I was like, "Oh shit, should I grow now? I think I can know how to do this." But I something I the thing about that pacing is it just added to how singular the book was. I was like, okay, so like he's going to take pacing down to the literal most natural progression of time. Like you really do feel like you are experiencing the passing of days and weeks and months, and you know the way you only get like little bits of plot here and there as weeks develop. It's really like uniform to that idea of like you were going to experience like the actual passing of time or something.
Yeah, no, that's true. There's like an element of super realism to it that I love in the sense that like there was this thing I think I talked with you a bit before, like the date thing where like he clubbed like some homeless lady or something, and then
Hmm.
he like references it in like a couple pages later, he's like on this exact date, and like I scrolled up and I was like looking at the dates and I was like, oh shit, he actually got the dates right. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, that line actually like yeah made me go holy shit, because yeah, it was something he phrased it kind of like, oh, we will always have like this date or whatever, and
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
yeah quotes this specific date, and I'm like, oh, amazing. Yeah, that's when the moments like that really pay off and you realize, oh, okay, yeah, he is actually very structured and thinking about this in a very specific and hyper way.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't
um
say this is unplanned at all. Like, I agree with you. Like, I think he put a lot of thought into how it doesn't seem that way at the beginning, but like as it goes on, you realize, oh, all these parts are like interconnected in very deliberate way.
mhm. Yeah, it's deceptive that way when you're reading it at first. It just feels, because like they'll be, at first it starts with diary entries, and some of them are like limericks and just like random, schizophrenic thoughts. And then every now and then you get you get like a little bit of a story, and then yeah, it takes a while for you to realize, oh, okay, there is a whole story going on here. There's a whole structure to all of this.
Yeah, and then like I guess I don't know, like I guess he was always crazy, but it comes to the point where it's like, I guess the main point is like right wing, like using right wing conspiracies to justify you being like a dickhead. Because like everything he's doing, right, where he's like stalking people or something, he's like, because it comes out, it's like, oh, it's this cabal of Illuminati or whatever that's like fucking with me, and it's like, man,
Hmm.
and I think it's his excuse to just be a general dick.
Yeah, 100%. Like sorry, he's clearly like this bitter, this very bitter person, and he just projects a lot of his conspiratorial fantasies on everyone else, just believing that they're all out to get him when he meets there's plenty of instances where he meets people that are totally nice to him. So that's why he flatly calls everyone the N word. It's not even just specifically black people. It's everybody is against him.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just like it's I guess I don't. Would you say that was the point of the book? Because I feel like that was kind of the book for me, but I don't know if like you got had like a different theme or you felt like MNDR was trying to like say something else or something like that.
Honestly, this is like the first time I'm really thinking about it in a totality of themes, like because just like the experience of reading it is such a fucking gobsmack. It's just such a totality of madness uh, that it's kind of hard to cipher through, except maybe some of the main points of him just just this very bleak character study of someone rotting from the inside until they've become completely hollowed out or whatever. And, just this apocalyptic vision of love or whatever. You know, I,
Yeah,
I, I, I think, I think you are touching on something but I'm not sure if he wants there to be one main takeaway from the whole thing. You know what I mean?
yeah, because there is the angle of getting away with it in the sense that because the biggest point obviously is like it's just the audaciousness of the jokes, right? And you're thinking, how can I write this without I don't know, getting fed botted or something? And like this would be the way to do it, where it's like actually he's bad, you know. He says
Right.
all these things, but he's kind of so it's like kind of a getting away jail card. So that's also a possible explanation. There's I don't know. I don't think he'd tell you either. So
Right. Well, there is a slight, plausible deniability to some extent where you could be like, well, writing about, a fucked up person, a bad person. So even if someone wasn't like right wing or whatever, they could enjoy it or,
yeah,
vice versa or something.
but I do think he deserves like so much credit because if I'm not mistaken, yeah, this was published in 2015. Like
Hmm.
like looking at it now in like 2025, like we've had all this like right wing shebang where people learn more about politics and stuff like this, but like this was written back in this is like 10 years ago, and I feel like he deserves a lot more credit. Like even if I don't like it, like 10 years ago I read it, like maybe my mind would have been like super blown with what he was doing.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely possible. I was thinking there were a couple moments where I was like, I couldn't believe how it was already almost like 10 years old. There were moments where I was reminded of like George Floyd riots and shit. I was like, how is this pre how is this pre George Floyd?
Yeah,
Just like some of the commentary I thought was just so spot on, and I was like, wow, was this really shit? Was going on in 2015? But yeah,
yeah,
really surprising.
yeah. Because like we just you're on X or you're on YouTube or whatever. And there's the what is it? The something to something right wing pipeline or something that
Hmm.
most normal people get. But I don't know what he was reading to get here before. That's pretty awesome. Um, I guess one thing I wanted to ask you was like so like what do you believe happened? Like one of the things that I'm still not clear on was like was the Charlotte even real? Like the goth titty mom or whatever.
I don't know. And I think we're supposed to just live with the that strange ambiguity because yeah, I guess we should break down that part where
Yeah,
like he he meets this girl, she seems really into him for some reason. They get along great. And they formed this cute little kind of life together. I mean, it's a little, it's he's kind of her bitch, but uh, they sort of have this nice life together, and it's much better than anything he's been doing for the past few years. And then she comes home one day and she's like covered in bruises. Someone has cut into her scalp with a knife or something, like engraved initials. And so he goes out into the night looking for this person. And then he comes home and it turns out that maybe she was not there at all ever in the first place. And he may have just been hallucinating their entire relationship. And then fast forward way down the line and he's like, actually she is real, and so
And never
it's
beat her
always
up.
calling into question, yeah, like how can I possibly take anything he says 100% truthfully.
Yeah, I was wondering if you had any context clues or something that like might shed some light, but it's just like I don't know, like because there's the other thing where it's like, did he kill his parents? And you're like, you're at that point like, it's so in dream state of him like burning down the world, like you're just I don't know if he killed his parents or not. Maybe they're still alive, maybe they're not. Um,
Yeah, it starts to paint this portrait of him actually being like really wealthy and belonging to this incredible family or whatever that has all this money, and he can just hide out in their estate or whatever, as the as the world burns. And that's where especially it starts to go completely dreamlike. And I just started to question, like, yeah, everything that was happening, because you'd have a moment where he's talking about how outside he sees, like, these cops getting murdered, but then he'll describe like needing to go like drive up to the store or do something very mundane where it's like, wait, is the world on fire or is it not? Like, did you murder these people, or what's going on?
yeah, but I think what's fun about that is also he has like the kill list, and he just starts like listing off the people who like fucked him over in the past before, you know. It just goes like
Yeah,
through talking shit about them, which is pretty funny.
I love that the book itself is basically like him basically giving you an elaborate breakdown leading up to the kill list. Like, it's almost like the book is just like the excuse for how he comes up with this kill list. Like, he
Yeah,
deals with this bad person, then this person, and then there's a point where he goes, all right, now here's my list. And when you read it why those people are on it.
yeah, why those people need to go.
Hmm. And it's
But
funny because he starts talking about that on like the first page or something like that. He's like, I need to make a
yeah,
kill list.
that's true. That's right. And I guess that's like another thing was like making your own personal kill list of people that you
This is the ultimate Fed post. It's the it's the
yeah,
ultimate, like, I'm just I'm trying to burn the world down and I'm screaming it from the rooftops.
yeah, for sure. And also in
Well,
term, yeah, you saying?
I was just gonna ask you about the drawings, but if you want to ask me a question first, that's totally fine.
No, because I was that was kind of what I was gonna segue into, like into the structure of like how diverse, you know, he's a very diverse author. How diverse
Yeah.
the structure is, and like the drawings, I thought they were like fun. Um, like it's all like one kind of it's built into the story, right? And I think he's just he has some drawings that he kind of runs through. Like they got a good sense of I think composition. There's like some fun ideas where he'll like draw a smiley face, and I think there's like a secondary image within the smiley face. Um, I wouldn't say that it's the greatest art of all time. It's like kind of modern artish, but if it's within the story, it was a fun different thing, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah, do you remember the context of it?
It
Because it
was
kind of broke my brain a little bit.
it was like this girl, like he was pretending to be a girl writing a story, like a picture book story. But is there added context to that I'm forgetting?
Yeah, no, that's basically it. Like, he says that this like art school chick from Chicago, she's like young, she's well off, and she wrote it, and he basically kind of makes fun of it the whole time. He's like, it's actually really fucking bad chicken scratch, you know.
Oh yeah,
Um,
okay.
but he's talking about how much praise it's getting or whatever because she's like a schizophrenic and libs love it or whatever.
Yeah.
So so it's funny because he starts off by saying like, oh yeah, this bitch she drew all these really terrible drawings, and then he proceeds to show you 100 pages of her drawings,
Yeah.
and then at the very end he goes, actually that last one was mine. So it calls into question, okay, so this is where it really broke my brain because
Okay.
obviously he drew all of these drawings, right?
Yeah.
He himself, MNM-DR, drew all of these drawings, but then but then he is saying in the story that he didn't draw these, but then he is admitting technically that he did do one of them, which calls into question the whole thing, even though he did draw all of them. So just when he got to that point, my brain kind of did a backflip. I was like, what the fuck am I reading?
It's like, yeah, it's super meta textual, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess maybe I kind of read it where that like it was obviously him, and I don't know. He's trying to fuck over a publisher or something.
I
But
mean, yeah, that's definitely possible. When I was first reading through it though, I was like, why are we randomly just like going into this dissection of this person he hates all of a sudden? But yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's definitely, to me at least, it felt kind of obvious, but then the weird like blending of the narrative with the meta reality of it, it was all just like it was a mind fuck.
no, I think like in an extra, not extra, but like outside this work, I think I think MNDR like I don't know, he like maybe likes to sketch and stuff like that, so it's like being able to put these in the story in like a different way, which makes sense in the story too, and I think that's what makes it cool. Um,
Hmm.
So if that's the way he wants to like roll it and stuff like that, that's fine. And yeah, you can be like, oh, he's like doing this and there's like the extra, which it adds a layer. It makes it fun. I dig stuff like that. So and actually, I wanted to ask you like, I mean, I obviously love all the different parts of like how he writes the story. Because I think at the beginning he like does diary entries, right, and then like midway through the book he switches to like more of the prose, and then he goes like as you said the pictures, and then like he keeps switching
Hmm.
the different ways of like how to write. Like, what do you think of that stuff?
Yeah, and he even asks the reader, he's like, "Hey, I know," he's like, "I know this is, it might be a little confusing switching back and forth between diary entries and prose, but how's it working?" Like he
Yeah.
even checks in on you every now and then to be like, "Is this working? Okay," Um, yeah, I just thought it was so playful and just really, really fun in that sort of way, and
Yeah.
yeah, just meta as all hell.
No, and there's also like he kind of does the MCU for where he says this is where the book ends, and then like there's like 204 pages, and he's like ends it multiple times.
Yeah, that kept happening. He keeps ending. He's like, "All right, this is it. This is the last you will ever hear from me." And it'll be this like grand ending. And then the next page will be a crazy big title. And yeah, funny enough, the first time you see the title, Behead All Satans, I've got the book in front of me.
Yeah.
The first time you see it is on page 141 after he just spent like 20 pages being like, all right, here's everything you need to know. Goodbye. I'm done. See you later. And then it goes, okay, now we've entered Behead All Satans. So I was
Yeah.
like, I thought this was crazy. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. I mean, there's plenty of examples of movies that do this.
Yeah.
But there's this really great movie, Mandy, that does it, where you don't even see you don't see the title card Mandy until there's already been a few title cards and they've established all this shit, and then once that comes on the screen it goes, oh shit, okay, now we've really reached the crux of the story, what the point of this is supposed to be. And that's kind of how I felt when I got to that.
Yeah,
even though
no.
it was still totally schizophrenic. But yeah.
Yeah, I just like as much as like I could say that I didn't enjoy like maybe the back half as much. And this book is like bursting with like different ideas, different ways of doing things, which I just like totally love, and I wish more people would do in like their writing and stuff like that.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I 100% agree. Um, I see so much just kind of stale content. People just kind of wanting to repeat what they think works or what they've seen or whatever. And this is such a just a creative, explosive chance, just a diarrhea of personality, literally. you
Yeah,
know, um,
I mean, there was I was looking through like the I don't know if I want to say it, but it's like I was looking at a bunch of blurbs for like some right wing books, and like I kid you not, it was like X goes to like planet Y or something. Will Z be able to like do Y? Will they? And it's the same blurb for every book as I was going down the list, and I was like, you guys can't all be like using the same blurb structure, right? Like this is it just I was just like, why would you use the same blurb? I don't understand why, like you can write words in different ways, like you don't have to just use the same format. But it's crazy how many books use the same blurb format. I was like surprised.
yeah, a lot of them use the same kind of formatting, and a lot of the shit in our scene I feel like is pretty safe, surprisingly. This feels like super super transgressive, and
Yeah,
just comparatively to some of the things I feel like are pretty safe in our scene,
yeah.
if that makes sense.
No, no, I totally agree. It's I talked about this at nauseam. It's just I feel like we just need to take more chances on stuff, and this is definitely taking a chance, and you can see his vision, what he's going for, and like while I may not personally like enjoy it, it's like this is like I think a pretty inspirational, like it's a mark on like right wing literature. Like he wrote this. I'm pretty sure it's been say like harassment architecture. Like Mike Ma read this before writing it. Like he's super influential, and I think it deserves to
Mm.
be said.
Right, and then yeah, I mean, I think both books have had pretty profound impact on the scene. But even just going from this to harassment architecture, you know, uh, it's almost like, yeah, some of the teeth were kind of removed or something.
Yo, yeah. Like this one
And
goes so much harder than harassment architecture in terms of like what's the amplitude, the max volume.
100%, yeah. I kind of went into harassment architecture kind of hoping for something a little bit closer to this, maybe with more narrative, but and I think it turned out more to be more of this really great aesthetic product. But
Yeah.
I think it'd be cooler if people were more influenced to write like this instead of you know the kind of pulpier stuff that you're seeing nowadays.
Well, it's the big swings that matter, and I totally agree. Like
Hmm.
I think Behead All Satan's may be a worse work than harassment architecture, but I respect the big swing more of just like here's this thing, like does this work, and there's a real creative drive to it. But I also do understand that like at one point, like I guess harassment architecture may be the idea of all these are great ideas are great, but let's like polish it, like let's just try to make it as like as good as possible in terms of reading experience. Maybe
Hmm.
that's like the dichotomy, but I personally probably enjoy people taking experiments more than just doing something that is safe and has already been done. So
Yeah, like I like a product, like I don't need a piece of art to be completely pristine and function on this need for entertainment value. I'm okay with it being like messy and kind of strange and hard to kind of wrestle with. I just want something new and creative, and I want to see the potential of creativity. I don't want to see people playing it safe, really. Which is why I really love whenever you just like post you just like make these like declarative statements like fuck pulp and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. I was just like thinking about the other day, like, dude, I don't read pulp, and I don't think I'll ever be influenced by pulp. I think pulp was important for its time for sure, but
Hmm.
I feel like people these days, they just like they kind of, for lack of a better word, like they just worship pulp, and it's just like you gotta write like Doc Savage, and I'm like, bro, why? Why would you write like Doc Savage? Like this makes no sense, and like it's the only way, and like everybody's now making like a million like Conans or Doc Savages. It's like, why? Why would you do this? Like this sucks.
Yeah, if you go to Amazon and you look at like the related books for like any one of our guys' stuff, and it's mostly like a line of images that all kind of they all kind of reflect each other, this Conan wizardry type style. You're like, okay, I know what I'm gonna get in for if I go down this road. So I typically don't tend to read those books. I tend to stick to the things I think are going to be interesting and weird, and at least just not follow that kind of typical narrative.
But I think it's just like with conservatives and like they're so they're married to tradition too hard, and I understand why, but it's I don't know, like they just can't move forward in the sense that they're always looking back, and it feels like in a couple years they're just gonna look back at something before like that we did today and be like, oh, remember when writing was good and Behead All Satans when it was too crazy, like that's gonna be the past eventually.
Yeah, because no one is willing to, yeah, take those giant swings and risk putting something out that might offend their tribe, or if it might offend the morals of people, and they might have to explain themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I which was funny because I wrote my book not considering any of that shit. I was just trying to be as hard as humanly possible. But now but I've kind of like ingratiated myself amongst everybody, and I'm like, look, well, hey, yeah, I'm not gonna apologize. I'm not gonna make the weird traditional calls. I'm not gonna play it safe or whatever.
No, no, I think you're doing it exactly right. Like, I expressed in my review, I like personally me, I was like enjoying it in a sense of like I love this, but like I love it
Hmm.
when people just stay true to themselves and their ideas and like being real. And I wouldn't want you to like even whatever my review said, I wouldn't want you to like sand off like what was unique and what you actually truly felt in your writing. Like that's the most important part.
Yeah, no, and that's also why I loved your review. I thought it was just so it was honest, and it really captured the kind of spirit of my creativity, I feel like. And honestly, I don't believe in trigger warnings or anything, honestly, because they're gay. But if I had to give someone a trigger warning, I'd be like, just read King Cringe's review of my book. That's if you fuck with that, then read it or whatever. But
Yeah. No,
that'd be my
I
biggest thing.
I agree with trigger warnings. I just like I'm not sure about the legality of my stuff, so I just put like if it's like, oh, don't take this seriously. This is not a Fed post. Just saying.
Right.
And like the other thing is like I'm not sure about the rules on like pornographic material because my stuff is like I have like pornography in there, so it's like I don't know the rules.
Yeah,
I'm
some
just
of your
gonna put this in
drawings
there.
do go a little hard.
Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't mean to
yeah,
there.
yeah. No, it's completely uncensored. So I have to like it's just you have to put the stuff in there to make people know that this is the thing that's in it. So,
I
but
want and not to get too sidetracked, but I just
yeah,
want to commend you on your art and how bold it is, because I personally feel like your shit is like way more way more bold, and and just like it's a like a punch of a statement I feel like such like a, honestly, I feel more like a pansy compared to you when you're incredibly bold art sometimes. But so it was kind of funny when like you read my book and you're like, oh, that was a lot.
That's so weird. Like, I don't know. I guess where the punchiness of my art comes in, just because we're talking about behead all Satans, obviously.
Hmm.
But like, let's get sidetracked. Fuck it. We'll loop back because there's still some stuff I
Fuck
want to
it.
talk about
Fuck
behead all Satans.
it.
But I think it's the point of like shame, right? Like people, or the king cringe is obviously in the name, right? It's okay. It's the ability to be okay with being uncool. Um,
Hmm.
and the right wing scene again, it's like this, like they want this, like trad girl, and the breasts can't be too big, but they can't be too small, and like all these rules, and like you have to have taste, which is like the one thing I hate the most in the right wing thing is you have to be tasteful. I hate that. Like what
Hmm.
what I want is just like, you know, who you are and like what you actually love. And so when you put what you actually love out there, like it's not gonna be the perfect image of like right wing stuff or whatever of, you know, Arwen from Lord of the Rings or whatever. And so that like I just, put what I love on the page and that's it. And probably that's where like the punchiness comes from, is that. So,
Yeah,
and I just wish
yeah,
people
absolutely, dude.
would like just be okay with like being uncool. And I think that's part of the problem why like the things are the way they are. Like I feel like right wingers, I don't know, like they have, I don't know if it's like more like moralistic, but they just can't be seen as like doing nerd shit or liking anime. Like even now there's like this whole like right wing contingent against like anime, which, is just weird, or like rap or stuff like that. Just things that
Hmm.
are considered low, which I think just need to be appreciated more, and people can see like the worth in them.
Right. Or just like doing the mental gymnastics and of like coming up with like a contrarian political reason for why it's actually not okay to enjoy it or something. And, and in a way you start to virtue signal to other people that like it's that you shouldn't be enjoying that. And yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's all just kind of detrimental to art. We all just need to be, yeah, embracing embracing our aesthetics and the things that fuel our fucking boners basically.
yeah, and that's what the left does, and like that's why it's so successful. Um, but
Hmm.
it's so interesting because I feel, maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like there's like an opposite like reversal in that, like it feels like the the left can't, or how do I say it? The right can't do art, but the left can't do politics. Like it's like a complete inverse where they're just
Yeah,
very, I don't know what that means, but societally.
right. And it's frustrating because and we've talked about this briefly, but like the idea that um the left, for being completely uninhibited or whatever, is not actually that. Like they're not making art that is pushing the full, pushing all the boundaries that still need to be pushed. And so if
Yeah,
we're the answer to that, if right wingers are the answer to that, then why aren't we taking that to the furthest extent? Why aren't we making the art that the left isn't capable of making? Like we should also be the ones like pushing it as far as, it's capable.
yeah, no, that's totally, dude. And I just like, it's like banging my head against the wall. I've talked to so many people, and like, I'm slowly getting a handle on like, who agrees with me and who doesn't. But a large contingent of it is just like, no, we can't be doing this because I don't know. It's there's too much sex or something, or this is too
Hmm.
scary. It's just, okay, whatever. Like and you can't convince these. You obviously can't convince anybody of anything, and like at
Right. The
this,
patina of class is it seems so smug sometimes. And it's like, we're not going to get anywhere unless we're all just dropping some of those pretensions and just going for it.
yeah, and at this point, like, um, I feel like I'm just kind of over the scene, like in a general sense of
Hmm.
I don't think the movement is ever gonna get there because I mean we're like super niche, you know, and the amount of people who need to agree with us would just be astronomical. I just don't see it happening. I feel like at the end of the day, it's because obviously you know like you're published by Anxiety Press, right, which are leftists theoretically. I
Hmm.
mean, yeah, they are. It's not theoretical, but
Yeah, no,
you
it's
know
true.
yeah they're about they're about the art. Like they're actually doing shit that's cool. Like I like that.
Yeah.
I don't like when right wingers, reject me because random reason X Y Z that we've already gone through a million times. And I'm starting to focus, I think, more on just the people who can like your stuff, like my stuff, rather than thinking we're gonna lead some theoretical movement and it's gonna change the world. I don't think that's happening. Uh,
Hmm.
and I think we're just gonna have to. I don't know if anybody can make it, but we're just gonna have to, be more. I think be more individual rather than trying to lead a movement. So
Yeah, I think just kind of collectivizing a scene of very nuanced individuals, is probably more likely the the route for all of this instead of something more hardened. But I mean, you never know. But I mean, that's kind of what I'm feeling. That we all, it's just going to be a collection of very specific individuals. Yeah, like you and myself, and um, there might be some people that like break out and do more. I think Cairo might end up doing something kind of bigger, but I'm not too sure about as far as like a movement or whatever, if it's going to affect change or anything like that. We like to make really specific niche shit that, like, I have
yeah,
no pretensions that my book was going to end up in Barnes and Noble. Like, I don't
yeah,
like I don't have that goal. I don't have that aim. I don't even, and this may sound counterproductive or retarded or something, but like I don't even have many aims to be a success. I really just want to put my fucking art out there and and meet and collab with people who end up fucking with it. I don't really
yeah,
have pretensions about success and goals to be a giant thing and be in stores and shit. But you know, I don't know. I just know I don't want to make books like that.
yeah. I mean, like, we all know, like, oh, all we would have to really do is just write romantasy or something. You could skyrocket. It's not. I don't think it's that hard. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't
Some
think it's that hard.
DEI romance shit.
Yeah. But like another thing that I was thinking about, like when we were talking about the scene, is like I don't think like most right wing people like genuinely love art. Um, because like in the like the mainstream like movie or like game industry right now, it's like a lot of people don't actually like the video games that they're making. Like they'll be like, oh, we don't like X, Y, and Z. You know, a superhero is too white. We need more black people. Whatever. But
Hmm.
I feel like that's also true of conservatives, where a lot of times I talk to conservatives, it doesn't seem like they actually like love art. It seems like they realize, oh, we need to be in a culture war. A culture war needs books. Now I make books. And I don't see them
Hmm.
like engaging in like weird choices. I mean, like you were talking about, what is it? Like, was it Jerry Paper? Was that the artist?
Yeah.
I barely see any conservatives talk about any like remotely interesting artists. All they ever talk about, from my experience, is like, "Hey guys, have you listened to like fucking Sabaton or some shit?" And it's like, okay, not that Sabaton is bad,
Right.
but like they have a very flat milieu of like what they're supposed to like.
Hmm. Right, because they put up these certain like thresholds on themselves. Like, I'm not going to engage with certain things because if I do, then that's like an attack against my identity or something. But yeah, that's not, that limits you from being able to experience the true potential of all art. Like, not everyone who is an artist needs to be a conservative or needs to agree with you or anything.
Yeah,
And why not try and contend with a piece that you have to you have to wrestle with politically, or find something about it that you enjoy that's not related to that. Or I've even found shit from libs that's not political at all, and you can just enjoy it as a piece of art, but you have to be willing to engage with the person, or whatever, or whatever that idea is, get past that threshold,
Yeah, yeah, no. And I think
like
this is
Jerry
something.
Paper.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And this is something I recently heard from the Hans Zimmer interview that I was watching, like with Rick Beato, where he was like, it was crazy. He was like, whenever like you give new people stuff, they like hate it, and he has to like literally, I think he said like he has to beg people to like listen to it, because once they listen to it a couple more times, it becomes familiar. I think that's
Mm,
at the stage where we are. We're like, like the stuff that we're making in our current niche right now is like it's so new that like it's not familiar enough to like the right wing people, where they're like they've been familiar with, I don't know, like 80s metal for such a long time, that's why they accept it, or these other things, but they like whenever something comes new, like they're just so scared of it.
right. And I think me and you,
Yeah,
we're so addicted to like just new experiences and like new forms of content, that we're willing to engage with something, even if it's a little off-putting, or may not like uh, pass the snuff or whatever,
yeah,
politically, when it, on its face or whatever. But then once you actually look into it, you're like, oh, I do fuck with this a lot, actually.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
a lot of the songs you've sent me, I'm like, oh shit, I wouldn't, I don't know if I would normally dig this, but then I listen to it, I'm like, oh man, I do really appreciate this. This is actually pretty great.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all in that sense of yeah, getting new. Like I don't know. I barely listen to any old stuff anymore. Um,
Hmm.
it is what it is. It's just, yeah, it's just new stuff, and there's always new stuff around the corner that I think is awesome. Uh, and just trying new things. So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And part of it is being, we are so inundated with, you know, constant new shit, that it's kind of hard to determine like maybe where to, which direction to go to or whatever. But um, I don't know. I think all that stuff kind of evens out or whatever.
it does. You just, it, I think what's like good and what's not, basically,
Hmm.
and you can filter out. I'm pretty sure we are. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the next MCU movie is gonna be mid. I don't know, but that just seems the
Got a
case.
strange suspicion.
Yeah, I don't think Captain American 4 is gonna be like breaking the rules, but there are other people who are. They're like trying. In our scene, people are doing cool
Spoiler
stuff.
alert.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, no.
yeah, yeah,
Spoilers. It's not gonna do shit.
yeah. But there's like people in our scene, like I mean, I don't really know about well, but like there's I think Low Res Wonder Bread. There's
Hmm.
Tomato Corner or stuff. They're like making movies and things like that. So there's always a
Yeah,
shot.
I want to see Mass State Lottery.
Yeah. Is it coming out soon or?
I don't know. I feel like if you're a patron, you can watch it. I'm not too sure. I know that like there's been some screenings, or some people have already seen it because they've dropped letterbox reviews. So I know it's gotten out there to some people, and I'm like, oh shit. Like I know Kelby Losax watched it, and some other people like that. So I'm like biting at the bit.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna be looking for your review on it. It's gonna be dope.
Oh,
Oh, I don't know if you will, but if you do it, it'll be sick.
well, I mean, now that you said that, I'm feeling like maybe I should.
Well, yeah,
If
actually,
I mean, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
you know, you were saying.
Oh, I was just gonna quickly ask if you read my last thoughts on, or whatever.
I think I did. Wasn't it about like the circuits or something?
Yeah,
Uh,
the audio drama.
yeah. So I read it. I don't know if I had any strong thoughts about it because I hadn't like watched it myself. From what I heard, it was just like, what's his name? Is it T.R. Hudson or is it somebody else?
No, it's Adam. Rang Specs.
That's right. That's right. That's who it was.
And then he got the host of the podcast Tales from the Mall to be the second main character.
wait. So it's actually like a
It's like a
play.
story. Yeah, it's like a
Oh.
story. It's like they it's it's broken up into two conversations, but like yeah, they actually play characters and they like in a story with an actual plot like gets developed. It's pretty interesting. I really, I'd recommend it if you've got some free time, honestly.
Oh, okay. Because this whole time, like, from what I heard or something, like, I don't know if it was on like the Tukey server where they were discussing it, and they were like saying like he was recording people without knowing. So I thought it was
Oh,
like some kind of real life thing, and I was like, oh, it's just like some real life conversations. Like, I guess it like works as an R piece, but I don't really like. I'm not really interested in stuff like that.
well, so the first thing he did before the circularity is like this really really kind of strange 3 hour long thing where he compiled a bunch of conversations that he had with actual like friends and family. So that might have been what they were talking about.
Oh, okay, I got confused. Okay,
Right. So that's like a compilation thing, but then this is an actual story. And I think they actually like went out because part of the conversation takes place in a diner where they're actually eating and they interact with the waiters. I have no idea if those waiters like knew they were a part of it or what was up, but it was
okay,
all super natural as if you had just gone to a restaurant and were just like, ordering food or whatever.
all right, cool.
But yeah, I recommend that definitely.
All right, it's a meta thing. All right,
Hmm.
I'll have to check it out then and see what's up.
Yeah.
We got side review on the circularity
Yeah,
recommendation.
side review circularity. I'm sorry.
Just going different places. But yeah, actually, one thing, because we're gonna go back to Beheading Satan's now.
Hmm.
One thing, I don't know if this happened a lot in the book, but I was blown away by the fact that one of the quotes in the book is literally "Her body, my choice."
Oh
So
yeah, dude.
I
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the correct term. Was it like pre-programming? Um, bro, I thought
Yeah,
it was
like predictive
whoa.
programming
Yeah,
or
like
whatever.
I don't like. Did he do that? Or not? Did he do? But like, it was crazy how like he wrote this like 10 years ago. And like, it's now coming. Like I don't know when like her body, my choice popped off, but that's the thing now. It's like 10 years ago. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I felt when it got to the killing all the cops stuff. I was like, when was this written? Like I
Yeah,
mean, I know there had been, there's been upheaval before in the past, against cops, so obviously he could have pulled from that for inspiration, but just reading it I was like, this just brings me right back to the fucking the fiery summer.
yeah, and yeah.
I was gonna ask, did you? I don't know. This might be a self-serving question, so let
Let's
me
go.
phrase
Let's
it a
do it.
different
Let's do
way.
it.
I noticed two. There were two. Uh, I noticed. Am I still on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I noticed two instances that were like exactly from Soap Scum.
Yo.
I was like, no. I was like, obviously, yeah. So I wrote my book
Yeah.
9 years later or whatever. Well, let's see. I wrote it in when I was 26. So I think I wrote in 2022. Okay. So yeah, like uh 7 years later or something, I ended up having some of the same instincts or something. Um there's that scene where he lights that guy on fire while he's just sitting in his car. And before that happens, there's a whole instance where he's like sitting at a bar and the guy just steals his drink and he goes, "Hey man, you just stole my drink."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh shit, okay." That immediately I was like, "This is besides the language already kind of having a tangential connection to Soap Scum in a way." I was like, "Oh shit, that scene reminds me of a scene from I think it was in Doodle Bop." Um,
Oh, was
but
it
then
was
he all
was that the one with the girl, the crazy driver girl, where like there's the beta guy at the bar?
No, that one it was a very quick instance where he's just like he's at the bar and he goes outside and he doesn't have a light and so he has to like connect the cigarette with another guy's but then they almost get into a
Oh,
fight. So he goes back
yeah.
inside and those same guys are like taking his drinks every time the bartender pours a shot or whatever.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So so it just reminded me of that. And then he also fucking references the Ricardo Lopez guy, the
Okay.
guy who the Bjork guy who blew his brains out.
Okay.
So
I've never
so
heard of
there is
this guy.
also yeah there is also a tangential connection between Behead All Satans and Soap's Gun. We both reference the guy who was the guy who was obsessed with Bjork and blew his brains out. Yeah.
Bro, this is what like I think that just like is indicative of good taste. Um I mean there was like cuz like I just noticed this. I think I talked with the before like I listened to Kim Petras, which is like a trans artist, and I
Mm-hmm.
was just listening to this all by myself. And then like on like I forget what it was like there's other artists I forget what his name is like Stars and Tigers I think he does so he does fish tank fan art and then he like just put on
Okay.
his ex that a song while he was drawing it was also like Kim Petras so I was like what like like I thought I was alone because nobody else would listen to this shit and his art's pretty good
Yeah.
too, you know. And I also noticed like some another like right wing guy that I kind of showed you, Brody TV, who's kind of crazy. Like he put like I
Mm-hmm.
think I don't know, I haven't given you this artist, but it was this artist called Breakins, and it's
Okay.
just like some rap stuff. I'll probably have to send it to you later. But I was like,
Yeah,
whoa,
definitely.
this guy's like just as crazy as me, and he's listening to the same music. So I feel like the guys who are in the know, we do kind of at least search for can listen to stuff that's a bit more I don't know, similar, I guess.
There's some kind of yeah, strange osmosis connecting us all. And
Yeah,
it yeah, it's like the ability to accept like outsider art and that kind of weirdo shit. Um
yeah.
yeah, you actually sent me a link or two from Kim Petras. Those songs were pretty great actually. So
Yo, dude
yeah.
has pipes. Like I just like, yo,
Yeah.
this is so cool.
Mhm. Yeah, I think I sent you Jerry Paper and then you sent
Yeah,
that. Or maybe you sent that and then I sent Jerry, but
yeah,
that was definitely the same kind of energy I felt like.
yeah, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of people, I don't know, they'll they'll list some band from like 80 years ago, or I mean, they'll talk about. You know what's crazy is I've talked to right wingers before, and they'll be like, Kanye's crazy, and I'm like, Kanye is like the coolest thing ever right now. I don't know how you guys don't understand this.
Wait, what are you saying? I'm not catching that word.
So I was just like talking. I was like, "Yo, guys, we should be influenced by Kanye," and they were like, "What are you talking
Oh,
about, Kanye?"
Kanye,
Yeah,
Kanye. Okay.
Kanye's like crazy, and I'm like, "That's."
Yeah.
I didn't say it. I just kind of left it out. I was like, "Oh fuck," but I'm just in my mind. I'm like, "Yes, that's the point. That's the point. Why he's so fucking cool. Like you don't get it."
Yeah, no. He's I mean, those tweets are so fucking insane that I mean, how can you not love it? How can you not be so like almost emboldened by how totally insane those tweets are?
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
no.
I've
I
tried to
was
go back and look for some of them, and some of them are gone. I'm like, ah, dude, they are those. Some of them are just gold. I couldn't believe some of that shit. It's like if that was in a book, that would be some of the most transgressive fucking shit I've ever read.
dude, you could string it together in a tweet. Yeah, it'd be awesome. you
Some
know?
schizophrenic poem ranting
Yeah.
against society.
No, no, no. We should, you know how like people have like Sun Tzu and shit like that? Like we should just
hmm
have the tweets of Kanye, and it's just one book, and people would just look at it for like life advice.
Passage Press, get on it. Make
Yeah,
the make the Kanye tweets. Publish it
yeah.
in a big, nice, thick hardcover.
But yeah, I mean, it's it's just as crazy and kind of journalist as Behead All Satans in a sense.
hmm
And I was about to say like it is inspiring, it is emboldened. Like when I saw like Kanye kind of doing stuff on Twitter where he was just like saying honestly his mind, like I think I put it on myself like that inspired me to like put back my reviews that I deleted because I thought they were too mean. And
Mm,
like maybe they were, but at the time that was what I was like really feeling. And I was like, I just got to be more honest and like just put the stuff that I really felt out there, And I feel like
100%.
like that's what I'm doing with my tweets now, where I'm not trying to do it exactly because he's doing it all caps stuff, but I've always been an all caps kind of guy. But I was like,
Right.
I should probably do it like just be more honest in the style of what I'm doing and stuff like that. So I think it's inspiring.
Yeah, 100%. If anything can be completely gained from that, it's that you should just be bold and be completely true to yourself and just completely put yourself out there and not give a fuck who you upset and who you keep or whatever as friends, because you just if you're not putting your full self out there, then I mean, what are you putting out?
Yeah, no, and that's what's great about Behead All Satans is like I'm not the hugest fan. I love MNM-DR. He's always had my back. I love that guy. But I'm not
Hmm.
the hugest fan. But you love it, right? So
Yeah.
it's like it is who he is, and I think you can tell who he is. Like I wouldn't want him to change this book at all. Like it is it's him, and I love that.
Yeah, it's this purely distilled product that it's just so hard to come across something that feels yeah, so purely distilled from someone's from someone's id, you know.
Yeah, I have a question. So I've already talked about how I was inspired by Behead All Satans.
Hmm.
Like after reading this, do you feel like you've picked up any new tricks or you know anything cool like that he's inspired you
um
to do in the future?
Kinda, yeah. Well, actually, and this might sound like really nuanced and really specific, but he does this wordplay thing, and it's gonna be really funny when we bring it up.
Okay.
Um, so, and I'm not even sure. I don't really remember the full context of how I do it, but he does this thing where he calls he in a row he'll go F words, N words, N word, F words, and F word, N words.
Okay.
and
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
he does it
yeah.
a lot. He does it a lot throughout the whole book. He'll have this, he'll get really pent up, and then he'll just say that phrase basically. And I had kind of developed my own version of that, but I hadn't really quite like tested it out. But I had been trying it in in sort of like my notes form, just to kind of see how it looked or whatever. And just reading that definitely inspired me to kind of stick to my guns on that. I was like, I don't know if that'll work or not, but just reading him do it and just seeing the uniformity of it, I really appreciated it, and the aesthetic of it. So I'm just like, you know what, stick to it, go for it. um and honestly just really helped me feel like I should stick to my guns, stick to my aesthetics, and just go hard.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about you?
I mean, I think I said it before, like the title screens, definitely, or how he formatted it. I think,
Hmm.
yeah, it did like make me feel like, yeah, I should just be bold because like I hadn't read Behead All Satans before, and I saw a lot of people reviewing it, and I was just like, okay, it's just a book, and I hadn't read Harassment Architecture, so I was like, I guess that's the level, and I'm too far beyond the pale or something. But after reading this and then realizing, no, he goes in many ways just as hard, if not harder than me, I was like, damn, like, like yeah, I should just just be freaking just go all the way because he's doing it.
Hmm.
So and you know that's the way to be.
Yeah, dude,
So
and it seems like he's having a blast making some of the
yeah,
most like vile shit. I kind of wanted to mention, because we were talking about this when we were reading it. How we were talking about like the speed of reading it,
yeah,
and how at how we would have to like take breaks to like fuel up a little bit and then go back into it.
yeah.
there was a point where I really felt like, oh my god, like this feels like dunking your head underwater, or like, putting your head in a sewer or something, trying to endure it, for as much as you can, coming back up for air. Okay, okay, now I can now I can finally go back in there and, keep grinding, because it really is like a testament of anger too.
Nah, yeah, like it's like oppressive. It's because like in terms of like style, like near the end of the book, there's like these just huge blocks of text, and you're like, fuck, I have to read all of this,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. You're like, oh fuck me. Yeah.
Whereas in the beginning, like it's much more, it's separated more, so like it's easier to read. There's like more flip throughs, and that's
hmm
probably why I like the beginning more. But like by the end, it's like, oh my god, it's Titanic.
And the fact that it's basically formatted like a giant coloring book, makes,
Yeah,
at least for me, it made it kind of just this enormous ordeal where I just felt like, just I know you read it digitally, but I just felt like this old man in his rocking chair reading to his grandkids. I have this gigantic thing. It takes up like almost my entire torso.
but
And I'm just like, how the fuck do I get through this?
bro, how big is the book? Does it like fit on your shelf?
It does, but um yeah, I'll have to send you a picture how it looks on my shelf. It looks really funny, actually.
Okay.
It's like committing to buying this is committing to having a gigantic object in your life that you then have to figure out how to put in places and, take care of. And and I'm a fan of that. I'm a big collector. I love having, big things I then have to deal with for the rest of my life. So I love that I have this stupid giant fucking coloring book size thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nah, that's sick. I mean,
Yeah, I'll
it's
definitely
cool.
send you a picture.
Now, any favorite parts in the book that you had? I think.
um, let's see. Oh, yeah, can we talk about a couple parts?
Yeah, sure.
Um, let's see. Well, oh, man. I mean, most of the horrible shit he does is really worth talking about, but um the when he attacks the homeless lady,
Yeah,
um I just thought that was so well handled, just so brilliantly told. Where, first he has this instance where he sees her, we forget about her for weeks. He sees her again, and now he's like fueled with rage. He just wants to eliminate her, and he like stalks her home, and he follows her to a park, and follows behind her into these bushes, and then he just like hits her in the back of the head, and he just describes her as disappearing, like she just kind of, like she could have fallen in the bush, she could have, who fucking knows. He just hits her and she's gone. He's like, all right. But then to come back, weeks or months later, however it was, and he sees her on the bus, and he comes up to her and he whispers, "How's your head?" And she
yeah,
freaks out. Oh my god! That's the kind of shit I live for. In when it comes to reading books, like
yeah.
just moments like that, I think I literally said, "Oh my god" out loud. I couldn't believe how well done that was.
No,
Um,
that was crazy. My only thought while running through it was like, bro, you have the shittiest OPSEC, bro. I was like you're really gonna do this and like out yourself, but you know,
I know there was a part of me that thought that too, but I was just like, just the total maniacal nature of it. I was giddy.
yeah,
Yeah, I was so
it was
happy.
it was worth the docs just going in there and just like freaking.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, also the way he gets back, the way and it's arguable whether this guy deserves the shit that he does to him. But the weed guy in LA,
Yeah,
when he takes a bucket of of human shit. He's been storing his own shit in a bucket for a really long time. And then while his roommate is out, he proceeds to take the shit to every room of the house and smear it in the crevices of everything. and
Yeah.
he out in the most detailed explanation and descriptions of him like opening the kitchen fridge and just like crusting it all on the inside of the shelvings, and I could not fucking believe that.
Yo, that was the first moment in the book where I was like, yo, this is getting real. Like this I was like, yo, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, that was like, this is getting fucking psychotic. It was, yeah, that's where you're like, oh, I have no idea where this book is gonna fucking go, like what true extent he's capable of and all that. I, I,
Yeah.
I would, yeah, that's the shit I want to read. I want to see, not that right wingers literally have to make that story,
Yeah.
but I just want to be shocked. I want you to write something that just completely rattles me, that completely unnerves me, and shows me something I've never seen before.
Yeah. That's totally true, but like I think on like the opposite end, like how much can we expect from these people? And what I mean by that is like there's only in my opinion, there's only so many talented people on this earth, and this is why I'm getting more like individualized. Like I don't think they can all do that.
It's
you
true.
know
It's true.
I totally feel it. I totally feel it with you. I'm like banging my head against the wall. I'm like, why can't you guys just see this simple fact that you just need to shock people a little bit, and then we could all like. I feel like if everybody did that, like we could take over art in like a week. Like our our
Right.
our sense of momentum would be so fucking fast that nobody
Hmm.
would know what to do with it. But every day, like I just see the same people making like the same boring shit, and I'm like, why am I here? Why do I exist? And then like I've tried talking to them several times. It's like at some point, it's like, why even bother, bro? Like they're just it's just pointless. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I don't have any expectations that this will all like whip around and that everybody's just going to start pumping this kind of stuff out, and not
Yeah.
that everybody even needs to really.
Yeah.
I would like to see more of it. I would like to feel like there's less monotony and there's more, yeah, more interesting people willing to write bizarro shit. um
And
have you
like
looked into sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and it just pisses me off. Like like the hot new thing is talking about manga or anime, right? Like how the East is like doing so much better than the West. And my question is like, why don't you fuckers ever copy this shit? Like there's so much anime or manga that like has all this like extreme sexual content in it, right? And it's
Hmm.
like, have you guys ever considered maybe you should do that? And the answer is always like, I like the anime, but without all that pesky other shit. It's like well, that's what
Right,
makes it what it
they're almost
is.
as yeah. Right. We need, and that's funny because I think they associate, sexual inhibition, and like, yeah, untamed sexual limits with the left, but the left is actually up, and they have all the, because of Me Too and all that shit, they have all these very specific rules, and like you have to like meet all these requirements and shit, and they deal with sex in the safest possible gloves on way possible. So it's like, it's like we can't behave like that. We can't react like that too. But everyone's, so morally against the left that they want to be the side that is like, not sexually degenerate or whatever. So they're not willing to put sex in their work at all. Or if they
Yeah,
do it, it's much more suggestive or sexy instead of being full outright, just showing the reality of sex.
yeah, that's true. And and like it's not even the sex. It's like how the plots are formed, or like just like because people are always like, oh, Japan so crazy, haha. They like made the weirdo thing again, and it's just like, yeah, they're
Hmm.
weird. Like, could you guys maybe try being a little weird or something? Just a little bit. The answer is
Yeah.
always no, but
And there's definitely uh some extents that I have with that too, where it's like I'm not gonna want to read certain things or whatever. Like I think I was telling you about Elf and Lied or whatever,
yeah,
and how there was just a certain point where I was like, I can't read this. Like,
yeah,
I appreciate the artistic will to be as crude and as sexually frank and human as possible. But obviously, yeah, there are certain points where I'm like, I'm not into this. This doesn't fit my aesthetic. It really offends me at a certain point, and I'm not going to engage with it. But I think
No.
that's different from the type of thresholds that right wingers are willingly putting on themselves.
Yeah. No, most of them are like, I don't know. They're like, oh, Miley Cyrus has gone too far, guys. So,
It's like, who gives a fuck?
yeah, bro. That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah,
yeah,
every other day it's crying about some latest just some grievance that is really nothing to be focused on whatsoever. It's just like, I mean, yeah, when a pop artist sexualize themselves, like, yeah, that's it.
yeah. But
I
it's
mean,
not even.
Brit.
It's
I
like
mean,
it's
yeah.
like the tamest shit possible. You know. It's
Hmm.
like, bro, like this. I feel like we've all been on the internet, right? Like, am I retarded?
Most
Uh,
of us came from 4chan,
yeah. Like, let's be real here, guys.
where it's like,
Um,
yeah, you have to scroll past the shit you don't like, but I mean, it's part of being online, part
yeah.
of being in the community or whatever. It's like, are we all fucking pussies now?
That's yeah. Like people, that's the problem. Like people act so hard on the right wing, but like when it comes down to it, they're like, oh, this is too freaking weird. It's like I thought we were here to like do crazy shit, but the answer is
Right.
obviously no. We were just here to, I don't know, make a comic book with like, I don't know, a right wing thing on it. Whatever.
Yeah, Chad ripped dude
Yeah,
saving a skinny bitch,
yeah.
and
That's
that's it.
that's it. That's it. It's just like everybody. Yeah, we've gone over this about. Like, yeah, like they're just the same. I don't know what to do with them. So they're if I could well, I think you had a question before I cut you off. Or
Oh, I think I was, but I forgot. I forgot what it was. I was gonna ask you what you thought of something. Crap. Yeah, it's not a big deal. If
all
I
right.
do think about it later, I'll probably just text you or something.
Okay, and then I guess I would talk about like a fun part for me is in the middle of the book there's all these parts with the censorship bars.
Oh
I don't know
yeah,
if
yeah.
the emails,
The
and I didn't.
emails.
Yeah, and I didn't understand what it was at first, but but the further you read on in the book, it's like he was fucking this bitch, but it's actually not true. It's all libel or it's all fake, and then he has to censor the emails so that the bitch or her family doesn't sue them. But then later in the book, he whips around and says, "Actually, it was all true. I just had to do it to like get it out, dude." I thought that part was so funny.
Yeah, that was hilarious. And like her current boyfriend gets involved and like
Yeah,
they are both yelling at him and coming to his house and be like, "Show us the book. We want to read it. We need to take notes." And they're like telling him how to like fix it and like change their characters to look better and stuff like that. But he's just calling the boyfriend a pussy the whole time and
yeah.
yeah,
I
dude. Ah, so funny.
I think it's like this is also like the meta thing where it's like he's writing the book, right? And so this is like the book that he's written, and then you have like the
Yeah.
censorship thing, which is like a meta thing. The first time you're like, "What is this? Why is it censoring?" And then he flips it on later in the book. You're like, "Whoa!" Like this is like crazy.
Where like the book itself that
Yeah,
he's writing is an actual document like in reality that has like actual real consequences for for people. Yeah, it makes you for a minute that section did make me go, wait, how much of this shit is true? Like
yeah,
that really did fuck with me a little bit. I was like, wow, this is it's so meta, it's so well written to take take the book as an object and make it like beyond the limits of what you're reading it as.
yeah,
Yeah, and I thought that was so well handled the way you're getting the emails and you have no idea what they're about really at first. You're like, what is this exchange? Who is this between? And then slowly you're like, oh, it's kind of flirty. Oh, they kind of like each other. Oh, wait, now they're hanging out. And so it develops this whole relationship. And then he goes into prose and calls her all these names and like all this shit. And Yeah, really, really tremendous stuff. I thought.
Nah, and it just makes me think of like how good his memory of working is, and I think this is a skill he has is the callbacks, like as we said with the dates, the censorship thing. He can like loop things
Mhm.
around like pretty far out into the book that actually like circle back, and I'm like, whoa, like
Yeah, every time he does it, it's super impressive and is just it's almost like a flex. It just reminds you that he's actually been keeping track of all of this stuff.
yeah,
And
and you haven't,
I what were you saying? Sorry.
and you haven't, like basically he's been keeping track, like because sometimes I just read these dates and I'm like, okay, this date, whatever, but
Oh yeah, exactly, exactly. Sometimes you kind of just start blurring through them. You because you're on a roll, right? So you're just
yeah.
reading past them or whatever. And but he's the one who's keeping track of all of it, which is so yeah, that's mesmerizing. At first, I tried to do this weird thing where I would read the day and I'd kind of try to picture like the feeling of that day. Like, oh, this is a Saturday. Okay, so that's the Saturday vibe. Let me get into that a little bit. But then as you're just reading, you just kind of blur past these days, and all you're starting to pay attention is like how much time has passed between them. You're like, oh, okay, it's been like a week. Oh, it's been like 10 fucking days or whatever. And
Yeah.
but at first I tried to be like, oh, this is like a Saturday feeling.
Also, I think that like you mentioned it, like I think this story doesn't it take over like the place of years actually?
Yeah, it spans almost like a decade or something.
That's crazy because like when you're reading it, you think it's like it happens in a couple of months, but it actually takes place across like 2009 to like I think maybe 2013 or something. Like there's a great
Yeah,
expanse of
something like
time.
that. Hmm.
So I thought that was
Yeah,
interesting.
it travels across countries, states, countries, years. It traverses so much distance and time actually,
Yeah.
and just really interesting locations and um yeah, because it's mainly there's like mainly takes place in like Canada, Washington. There's like a stint in LA or whatever, and by the end, I have no fucking clue where we're at, but it's just pure insanity.
I do like that too, where he's I don't know if he's lived in these places, but he's obviously done his research and like all the cities, they feel like Washington or Canada or whatever, you know. I'm
Yeah,
sure
this
he's
is
done
one
it.
of if you could consider this auto fiction on any level, then this has to be the best one because
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's like this perfectly tailored thing where you really do feel like okay, yeah, this guy just lives here and he's just recording his diary entries and somehow it's elevated into this narrative, this psychotic fucking narrative. Um but yeah, the specificity of everything is so real that you're like, "Oh, I just how is this not actually just diary entries? How is this not literally that?" It's really mind-blowing in parts.
Yeah, dude, it's just it's a testament to maybe he just lived it, but research and actually fucking caring. And I think that's
100%.
what I like the most is that, he cares enough to, because somebody could like write a book where it's just like 1,000 pages of just like diary entry one, and they like kind of what's the word, half-ass it, but this shit is like for real, and I think that stuff always brings verisimilitude.
Yeah, and there's even a part where he says, like, I was flipping through my diaries and I realized that I wrote for a couple months, but I looked through it and it was complete trash. So I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna put it in the book, but I'll sum up for you what those entries were. So he
Okay.
even, yeah, there's definitely a lot of consideration in that aspect.
Yeah, it's been a while since I read it, so like I don't remember that part, but yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, no, I'm just sitting here flipping through and I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
um
going through
just
it.
like little bits and pieces will just stick with you like a fragment. You go, oh man, that was really something special. Yeah, this is a total labor of love, this huge document.
Yeah,
I probably would have cut down some of the drawings. I probably would have made that
Yeah.
section a little shorter, but again, I do love sticking to your guns and just making it just relentless as fuck. Where you're just flipping through it endlessly.
Yeah, I guess there is something to that Titanic nature, you know. Yeah, if I were to fix it personally, which I don't recommend him do, uh,
Mhm.
I would like cut it in half. I feel like, you know, I don't know. I would have like three weed entries, and then I would move on instantly to the shit painting. But yeah,
Yeah,
no, I would just
I feel like I probably would have done the same, or maybe do it for like a page or two tops,
yeah,
but just to really be like, oh yeah, he's really sticking with the monotony of it, but then
yeah.
kind of get it going.
But there's like
But
there's fun stuff in there too, in the sense that I remember one entry like he's like, "Oh, I'm eating ants," and you're like, "Oh, okay, this guy is crazy."
yeah, yeah. Oh, endless descriptions of spider mites and
Yeah.
eating his plants and creating cobwebs, and there's a ton of just really great um insectoid imagery, and just like constantly bringing up this idea of being surrounded by insects, creating insects, feeling like one, and then literally just basically manifesting into the fullest version of that feeling or something by the end of it.
Oh, okay. So I didn't notice that. So at the end, does he like become like an insect? Like I know he like
It's
he's
so here, I've got it right here. It's kind of strange. He says like do you want me to read it?
yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Um okay. So he's been held up inside his house for a really long time. He hasn't seen himself. The world's gone to shit, and all this crazy stuff's going on. And then he finally catches himself in the mirror, and he goes, I haven't seen myself for a long time. Haven't cut my hair or shaved since I got here. And from the look of it, with the exception of my eyes, my entire face and body is composed of millions of living insects. There's a layer of rotten flesh underneath this exoskeleton of ants, maggots, flies, wasps, spiders, and cockroaches. I'm digging through the bugs. I'm ripping at my flesh. My chest cavity just came straight off in one solid chunk. I'm staring at the hole in my chest. I'm staring into its nothingness. I hear them. Here they come. From the black abyss of my torso, I watch them shrieking by the hundreds, the thousands, the dirtiest sewer rats you can imagine. They're pouring out onto the floor. They're starving. They know what I am and they're starving. I don't have long to live. F word, N word, BC, all this shit. Death to this world, death to all worlds, and fester and rot. Death to you, Satan's festering and rotting. Death to me, they're eating me alive. I must die now. I'm about to die, and it's the happiest day of my pathetic life. Soon I will be free. I will be reborn. I will find my family. I will join my family. I will help them rid the world of you. I will help them remove the heads of all Satans. So he he has been by then by the end of the book he has reached his complete metamorphosis. He has completely transformed into the rotting maggoty insectoid form that he's always kind of that's been festering on the inside until it all basically just collapses. And he calls that a death in some way, and but it's also a rebirth into something more chaotic, something newer. I don't know. It's very dark and ominous, but it is a complete transformation.
No, you're probably right on that. I didn't notice it, but yeah, you probably picked up on something. Like there's probably callbacks to like him like getting more insectoid as like the story goes along.
Well, I was just making note of all these like reoccurring themes, like or just reoccurring imagery. Like he talks about shit a lot.
Yeah.
And he makes references to shit a lot, and this is like I think metaphorically goes beyond just like the reference of it. It's like he talks about people being shit, his life being shit, seeing shit physically. It's just it's a it's you know the the whole book has like this aroma, this waft of it, of the sewer that he surrounded himself in emotionally.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. A quick question. So, like, he has all these references. I don't know if you have a theory on this, because
Mhm.
like, he has all these references to the lemur. Like, Ava's the lemur. Do you think there's any references, like, the meaning to the lemur stuff?
Um, there there was a couple parts where he kind of changes or kind of talks about the possible potential meanings behind it. Because
Okay.
he calls her his lemur, his sweet little lemur, and all that stuff. But then I think there was one section where he did expand and refer to either himself as a murderous lemur or something like that, or
Okay.
he took the word lemur, which had been used the entire novel as this sweet pet nickname for Ava, and then he turns it into something sort of sinister. And I wish I could remember what it was, but I just remember having that moment where I was like, okay, so the lemur is on the cover is not just her necessarily, or this profession of love for her or whatever. It's something more sinister and maybe darker or whatever. And honestly, it might be a metaphor for just that waking darkness for that underneath that love or whatever. I'm not too sure.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know enough about lemurs to have a guess at why he picked the lemur, but yeah.
Yeah, neither do I. It really just seems like he thought it was like a cute animal or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that cover is so striking. You see that and you're like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is in that book? What is what is in there?
His cover is pretty interesting for sure.
Hmm.
I do have a question, and I guess it's more like a general thing in the sense of like right wing psychopaths in book. I think I mentioned this in my review. I wonder if you have any thoughts on it. Like, our scene kind of has like the right wing guy that's like kind of unhinged. Like, I think uh Behead All Satan's your book Soap Scum has like kind of other
Hmm.
people that are kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Incel, I think that was like more of a positive version of that, where he's, I don't know, like, I haven't read it, so I guess the guy's like an incel, but he eventually learns not to be one. But yeah, I was just like your thoughts on like
Right.
the right wing guy who's like a psycho. Like, what's he aiming? Like, is it just energy of like the environment around us that's like contributing to these things, or what?
Well, I've actually been thinking a lot about this since I read that part of your review. It just made me. I've just been kind of pondering it a lot, and I think what it is you know, right wingers and men in particular spent so much time being demonized in the media for their views and for traits that that they're just born with or whatever naturally. And so when you're demonized for so long, it creates this kind of uh, like this pent up need to kind of lash out with any remorse or any care, really, because look, if you're gonna paint me as a demon, then fuck it, I will go. I'll unleash my full demon or whatever without any moral judgment. So I feel like it's kind of like, yeah, I'm going to express myself because I haven't been able to. I've been demonized for so long, and I'm not going to express any morality for this character. I'm not going to demonize them. I'm just going to, be as unhinged because it's cathartic, to kind of lash out against that demonizing by being as being that image or whatever. Like, oh, you think I'm a school shooter? How about I write a book about a fucking school shooter then, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, no, I think you're right. I think you're right. I think that makes the most sense. Yeah, because yeah,
That's kind of
there's
how I felt. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you
no,
saying?
no. I was gonna say something interesting. I'll continue.
I was just saying, like, that's how I felt writing Soap Scum. Like, Soap Scum was just born from pent up lived frustration, being told over and over again that, what I believe in is bad, I'm a bad person, and being told what I can and can't write about. So there was just a cathartic explosion of creativity where I could just be like, okay, yeah, you want to tell me how I can and can't approach these subjects? Fuck you. I'm gonna do it however I fucking want to, and I don't care, if you tell me it's right or wrong. I'm going to be as explosive as I want. Like I don't care if a leftist thinks I am not talking about gay people in the right way, or I'm not using the right using words in a right context or something. Like I don't give a fuck about any of that. So I'm just gonna do it how I want to.
Yeah. No, dude, I totally felt that. And like, yeah, that probably what it is. Like we're just in the life we're living, we're all uh, to 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 commiserate with my black brothers. We're all like oppressed by this system that tells
Hmm.
certain people that like, yeah, your opinions don't matter, and everything you do is wrong. Like at some point, it's gonna reach like a tipping point where you're just like, okay, like this is, I guess, it's the joke that like, they just keep calling us Nazis. So it's like, fine, fuck it, I guess we are, and you know,
Right, and now we embrace like
yeah,
the imagery of it because it's
yeah.
like, well, fuck it. Now we can find some kind of power and meaning in it or whatever.
We're taking it back. We're reclaiming it.
We're reclaiming Nazi.
Yeah.
That's our
Like
fucking word.
it's our word. You can't say it anymore.
You
we're gonna
can't fucking say it.
like when
You
we take
cannot
over.
say Nazi unless you're friends with one.
Yeah. It's gonna be reversed. We're gonna take over the government, and we're gonna control
Yeah.
culture now. Yeah.
How many Nazis are you friends with? Really? Come on.
Yeah.
You can't use that word.
You can't use it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Only we can sing the freaking German national song. I forget what it's called. It's the one that everybody sings.
And then we'll actually
Yeah.
spend the time trying to figure out how to sing it.
Yeah. But actually, while we're talking about soap scum, I'm gonna glaze it because in the circle jerk, another sidetrack. Like soap scum did actually help me finish Behead All Satans because I told you before, like I had talked with MNM-DR like years ago, and he gave me his book because we were just swapping stuff or whatever, and I was like, yeah, I'll read it and like I'll give it a review.
Hmm.
And I read like I forget like the first 10 pages or something, and it was cool. But then like it started getting to the stalker shit. It kind of freaked me out, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, I was super uncomfortable with it, and then like I talked back and was like, man, like I don't know if I can finish this. Like it's just way too creepy for me, man. And he was like, yeah, I get it. Like it's whatever. It's cool, dude. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because it was like because it wasn't only the fact that it was like stalkership, but it was like 200 pages, and I'm like, am I just gonna read 200 pages of like this freakazoid's mind,
Hmm.
And then
Yeah.
years later, actually, we came into contact. I just, whoever hit whoever up first, and then, you gave me your
Hmm.
book, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll read it, and I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the writing style, but like I was just like able to like plow through all like the shock stuff, and I was
Hmm.
like, I was just like coming to terms like what I think artistically is this stuff, and like once I finished that, um, you know, I was like, man, I feel like I could read anything, and you're like, I read exactly how it happened, but it was like, yo, I haven't read Behead All Satans yet, and I was like, oh yeah, like, dude, I can totally
Yeah.
read it now, and yeah, we did this book club, and that's how like the progenesis of all this happened. So
Yeah, dude. I put you through the ringer
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
I
but that's
desensitized you.
yeah, but that's so cool. Like, so cool actually made me finish MNDRs. And I'll say so. He's got to thank you, man, at least in some capacity for having this podcast and making it work.
Yeah, no, I'm happy that I was able to do that. And now me and you are tight, so that it just led to a great friendship, honestly. And yeah, no, I'm just stoked. And I'm glad that yeah, we were like, "Oh shit, you haven't read that either? Let's fucking
Yeah,
do a little book club on it."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
It was fun. I was like, "Oh yeah, I get to read. I got a good excuse to fucking read this book now." Because I
yeah,
bought it like
yeah.
years ago, and I don't even think you can buy it on Amazon anymore.
No, it's gone. I don't know why they attacked him this year, but yeah, his shit's on like some other stuff now that you have to download. And you can't get it on
Yeah,
Amazon,
I
but
saw. I saw a tainted turd you could get on barnesandnoble.com.
Okay, you get the sequel. All right.
Literally, like that's the only place I think you might be able to get it. And I don't think you can even buy Behead All Saints anywhere. Like it's not on barnesandnoble.com, so I have no fucking idea.
That's crazy, dude. Like where? How do you even hear about this shit, man? Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
they're just like, oh yeah, this guy right here. Like, I haven't even heard of NMDR. Like, not like, I mean, people talk about it in 4chan, but like, who's like reviewing this stuff? I don't know. Like, because he's been underground. He's not like popular like Mike Ma. I don't think.
Right, yeah. It's just like if you are on the message boards, then you have seen this lemur image around, and that's kind of how, you kind of figure out the lore or whatever, or get introduced to it somehow.
Oh yeah, you actually you know who it is? It's the people who are fucking with MMDR. He's not lying. Like this whole time, they're conspiring against him, and they've taken his book down from Amazon. It's their fault.
Well, well, and I think it's legit. Like I don't know, I don't think it's like a stunt, but I have seen Twitter accounts that are inactive, that yeah, they're no longer exist, and they seem to be purely to harass him and to
What?
be, yeah, like I saw an inactive Twitter, and like the only post it had were basically just being like, I'm going to make it my mission so that Behead All Satans can never be bought. And it's like it seems like there was a actual concerted effort by some people to like ruin this guy's life and not let this book be read by people. And I don't know if that's all like he actually did that himself behind the scenes to boost it, but it seemed legit to me. It seemed like someone had it out for him.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't surprise me if there's like some Fed shit where they're obviously on 4chan somewhere and they're lurking and they see this book and like, oh no, not this, not some
Hmm.
guy. So
Just some bullshit.
yeah, not to talk about inside jobs anymore, but yeah. Uh, I don't know if you have much else to say. I've kind of like run through all my stuff, thoughts on the book. So
Yeah, no, I feel like I got all the main thoughts out. I can't really think of anything too else to comment or of note. I feel like it was a pretty thorough discussion, honestly.
yeah, all right. I think the viewers or listeners can understand where we're coming on. Whether
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll figure out whether or not they want to read this book, but they'll certainly get a view of like what's happening. So
Hmm.
all right,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
all right, so I'll just we'll just be signing off, I guess. Jesse, you want to plug your stuff one more time?
Yeah, sure. Jesse Larkins. I wrote a book called Soap Scum. It came out through Anxiety Press over the summer. You can buy it on Amazon. Just look up Soap Scum, Jesse Larkins. Follow me on Twitter, Substack, all that good shit. And yeah,
Oh yeah, this is King Cringe with Subverted Subversions first episode. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with this. This is literally just Jesse with the Talking Let's Do a Book Club. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll just do this myself. And yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this in the future, but read my Substack, read Hate Spree. It's cool. It's the bomb. Uh, yeah, that's it. Signing off.
absolutely.
All right, hell yeah.